What is up, everybody? What is going on? I'm going to wait for some of you to come on here, and we're going to get rolling. But welcome to No BS Wednesday. Courtney, Aaron, thank you both for joining. Courtney and Aaron, how are your guys' days? How was your Wednesday? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining, as always. I'm pumped up about this topic tonight for all of you guys. Patrick, thank you for joining. What's going on? Aaron, man, it's going good. I'm actually right now, I'm at my parents' house or my mom's house because they are still fixing internet at our new place. We've literally had 3 different technicians come over. They're still trying to figure it out. Man, I don't know what the heck is going on, but Spectrum needs to figure out their stuff, man. I don't get it. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing here. So this is not the new space. I'm excited to get into my new office and start doing some live streams from there. But Aaron, I think that was you that commented and said, hey, I'm excited to check out the new space, but the new space is not. That's about 5 miles down the road. Andrea, thanks for joining. Katie, thanks for joining. Amy, thanks for joining. As always, thank you all for coming on. All right, tonight, let's just dive right into it. I'm excited about this topic. I'm hoping that that the internet works with me tonight, because we'll just say, I don't know what's up with the internet in Texas so far, but man, the internet's a tad spotty here at my mom's house. But hey, we're just going with it. We gotta utilize what we can. So tonight we're going to talk about the secrets to sell your cash concierge services to any potential client. Any potential client. This is coming into thought for me for tonight's No BS Wednesday, because I feel like this truly is something that a lot of us PTs, a lot of us as healthcare professionals deal with, is we don't know how to sell people. And I want to break it down and make it a little bit easier for everybody tonight. If that sounds good, give me a hands up emoji. Give me a hell yeah. Give me a let's go. Tell me that you're listening, because we're going to jump into this thing, okay? I'm going to wait, guys. I'm going to wait. Come on, Spectrum, says Aaron. Man, I agree with you. My goodness. Spectrum, I don't know what's going on, but they have literally the 3rd technician out there right now working on our internet. So I hope this thing gets going. Okay. Hells yeah, there we go. All right, let's go. All right. So basically, to start, when you're trying to sell a patient on your cash services, I want you guys to think about 2 things. 2 things that I think about that will help you to sell any time with a patient. 2 very, very simple things. Number 1 is energy. Number 2 is confidence. We're going to get into some very, very specific things as to how you can do that. But we're starting with basically the framework of how I've learned that I can sell to patients more effectively. And that's number 1 with energy, and number 2 with confidence. Guys, I'm telling you, if you can be confident in what you do and what you want to do with a client, you will sell a client. Confidence is contagious. Have you guys ever met a person that has confidence, like radiating energy and confidence, and you want to be around that person more often? Gosh, I know I have. Like when I get around people like that, it's infectious. Hey, Patrick and Katie, I was on a phone call with both of you, and both of you have great energy. It was infectious. I got off the phone call and I was so freaking pumped for what you guys are about to do in your practice together. Like, energy is transferred from one person to another. Energy is transferred from one person to another, and so is confidence. Confidence is transferred from one person to another. Have you guys ever do any of you guys have that type of friend in your life that, they're confident about everything, and when you're around them, maybe you tend to do stuff that you normally wouldn't do because you feed off of their confidence, let me know. Do you have a friend like that? Let me know in the comment section. Confidence is contagious. Energy and confidence are both contagious. And so when you are going into a client conversation and possibly selling them on your services, well, shoot, I hope that you've got energy and confidence surrounding it, because I hope that you're excited about what you're doing. For me, I get so unbelievably excited about what I'm going to be able to help a patient to do, the transformation that I'm going to help them to achieve, that it's infectious. Like like I can see as we go through the evaluation, I get more energetic and confident, and my patient gets more energetic and confident. They feed off of it as we go. Catherine, thank you for joining. Thank you always, all of you for joining. We struggle with confidence. Katie, it's something that we all struggle with. So I'm glad you say that. Is all of us struggle with confidence, but it's something that can be trained over time. And I can promise you that your confidence will come the more energy that you have surrounding why you're doing what you're doing. And I know this is cliche, but that's why it's so unbelievably important to have a big why about what you're doing. For me, I have no problem coming on here and being energetic with you guys, because I love helping people to start and run successful practices. I love it. I love it. I have a grander goal of helping over 200 physical therapists personally to start their own successful concierge practices in the next 3 years. That gives me a lot of drive. And so you've got to be able to have that true why of why you're doing what you're doing. And I think the majority of you watching want to help people and truly want to help people. That's why you want to get into these own practices on your own, is you truly want to help people. And so Jordan, Floyd, Kayla, Ryan, thank you so much for watching. But that's the first two things, energy and confidence. Now we're going to dive into specifics. And what I'm going to talk about here is basically when we're getting towards the end of that conversation and we're having to do that thing that for some reason all of us dread doing, and that's actually sell a patient on your services. And I want to talk to you really quick about what that is. When you sell a patient on your services, you're convincing them to make the right decision. Because I know every single one of you watching, Ryan, Kayla, Jordan, Catherine, Amy, Marquise, Aaron, I know every single one of you that are watching know that you are the best option for your patients. And if you aren't quite there yet, then I'm telling you, you've got to get to the point to where you truly believe that you are doing them a massive disservice by not selling them on your service, because you know at the bottom of your heart that you are the best option for them. I want every single one of you to get to that point, and you will have a hell of a lot more success. Mark, Tony, Russell, I want you guys to let me know, do you feel like you are the best option for your patient? Give me a yes or no in the comment section. If you think you are the best option for your patients, then you've got to be able to sell them on your services. And we're going to talk about that exactly right now. So number one, so of course, just like always, I love lists. If any of you guys have read my book, The Concierge PT Success Formula, there's tons of lists in there. Lists have always helped me to learn things quicker and to put things into action quicker. And so number one that I want you guys to understand when you're selling someone on your services is they're always going to have objections. They're always going to have questions. You've got to be able to acknowledge them. That's number one. And so, yes, that even means if somebody says to you, after you tell them your price, that's expensive, you've got to be able to say and own up to it and say, yes, it is expensive, but here's why. Yeah, it is expensive, but it's worth it, and here's why. Again, that goes back to that confidence aspect, right? So number one is you've got to be able to acknowledge them. And I'm actually going to take you through a sales conversation and how I do it and how I have had success. Okay? So number one is acknowledge them. You want to answer as many questions as possible and acknowledge every single one of those questions, acknowledge every single one of those concerns. You want to encourage them to ask questions even, because the more questions that you can get from a person, the more likely they are to make that sale. It works 100% of the time. The more questions you can get somebody to ask you, the more likely you are to make that sale. You know why? Because you guys go back to the last thing you bought. Were you buying some running shoes at a running store? Maybe you were buying a car. Maybe you were buying something, less expensive. But if you had questions about that thing, that means you were really, really interested in buying that thing. If you didn't have questions about that thing, it means you probably weren't very interested in buying that thing. I know for me, if I'm buying a car, I've got a lot of questions that I want to ask. What do you think about this car? Is this, do you guys sell a lot of these Forerunners? What do you think about this car? You ask questions. It's very simple. You ask questions when you're interested in something. And so number one is acknowledge them and answer all of their questions and acknowledge every single one of their concerns. If it's money, acknowledge that. Say, yes, I know it's expensive, but here's why. Number two is when we're trying to sell to a patient, this is literally gold, you guys. So I want you to understand this, take this down and understand this. But tell a story, either about yourself, a previous client, or a client that maybe you even know that had great results. Obviously, the best type of story to tell is a client that you have helped in the past. A client that you have helped in the past. And so it goes like this. Let's say Bob is in front of me and Bob is having a knee issue and he's trying to get back on the tennis court and he can't get through an entire game without basically having a flare-up of his knee. And that's affecting his social life because that's what Bob does for fun. He plays tennis. And so this is what I would do. Quickly in my mind, I would find a patient that I've seen that's had knee pain, because all of us have quite a bit of experience at this point in most cases. And even if you don't, like Aaron, I saw you on here. You're a new PT. Even if you don't have experience, you've seen a lot of patients in your clinicals that you've helped. And so I would simply just tell a story about a patient that I've helped in the past that had knee pain similar to them. And I'd say, hey, Bob, look, I saw one of my patients named Kyle about 3 months ago. Three months ago, Kyle came to me with a very similar problem, except it was related to golf. Kyle could not get through a full 18 rounds of golf because as he was getting towards the end of those rounds, his knee would flare up and he had to go to his car and ice. That's actually a true patient. And basically over the course of a month, I was able to work with Kyle and help him get to the point that he was not having that issue. And now Kyle is able to go out with his friends and play golf a full 18 rounds. He's able to get to that 19th hole without problems. I want to be able to do the exact same thing that I was able to do with Kyle for you, Bob. And I know I can get you there. I believe it's going to take about 8 visits, but this is exactly what we're going to do to get you there. That's how I would lead him to the sale. Okay, so selling in my eyes is in a lot of cases telling a story, because the best thing that you can possibly tell another person is that you've helped somebody like them to get the results that they desire. If you have a patient like them that has achieved the results that they want, you need to tell them about that person. And so number one is acknowledge them and acknowledge their questions. But number two, tell an applicable story that can apply to that person's situation. Number three, help them to see the reality of the situation. And so this is how I do this. Let's talk about this real quick. And so what is the main, let me know in the comment section, what is the main objection that you think most patients give when they're objecting that money conversation? What do you think the main objection that they give? The main objection that they give to a cash plan of care, what do you think it is? While you guys are doing that, I'll say hi to a few people. Kim, thank you for joining. Belisa, what's up? Thank you for joining. Almira, Brian, thank you for coming on as always. Paul, Mark, Tony, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming on. But what do you guys think is the main objection that most people give when you're trying to sell them on a cash plan of care? What do you think it is? Russell, there you go. I can't afford it. And so how do you help them to see the reality of the situation? This is how I do it 9 times out of 10. It depends on the patient in front of me, of course, but this is how I do it 9 times out of 10. is I just help them to reframe how they're looking at things. And so something that you guys may not know about me is I love shoes. Love shoes, always have. My wife tries to hold me back from buying too many shoes, and that's actually been good. And so I love shoes. I mean, I'll show you guys right now. Got some Nikes on right now, right? And so literally my go-to to help reframe a person's mind when they're telling me that it's too expensive is I'll literally point to my shoes and I'll say, look, those shoes down there, those Nikes are $150. In 3 months, those Nikes are going to wear out. I'm going to have to buy a new pair. Or honestly, I'm probably going to be sick of them after, 3 or 4 months, and I'll probably get a new pair. How true is that for all of us? But I want you to understand something. You're actually making a decision right now that will impact your health. And your health is the greatest investment that you could possibly ever make in your entire life. You're deciding on making a decision that is going to impact your health in the long term. And that is the best investment that you could possibly ever make. I want you to pat yourself on the back because you're deciding on doing that instead of going and buying a pair of shoes like I have that's going to wear out over time. But your health, you only have one body. Your health is not going to, we don't want it to wear out over time. We want it to improve over time. And so this is the best investment that you could possibly make is in your health. And so what you're doing in that situation is you're just reframing how you're helping people to see things. That's all you're doing. That's simply all you're doing. I use this example all the time. If you're not confident in what you're doing and you don't sell somebody on your services, they will walk down the street and have no problem walking into a Best Buy and buying an $80 cover for their phone. How ridiculous is that? They will have no problem walking into Apple and buying $150 AirPods. They will have no problem doing that. But for some reason, people aren't, I'll tell you the reason. People aren't used to paying physical therapy in this fashion yet. And so they have to be told the truth. And so they have no problem doing that. They have no problem buying that case, but they're going to give you maybe some pushback on your $120 price point for a visit that can significantly help to push them in the right direction. Does that help to start reframing it for you guys as well? And so when you start to understand that, you can start to understand, okay, I just have to help them to see the reality of the situation and say, look, you're actually considering doing this for an investment in your health. That's the best investment you could possibly make. So reframe their mind, help them to see the reality of the situation. And then here's number 4. I told you guys I would make this simple. There's only 4 steps. Number 4, confidently tell them what they need. Simple, but it's like confidently tell them what they need. That example with Bob. Bob, I can get you where you need to go. I can get you back on that tennis court, back on the court with your friends, doing the things that you want to do, and not missing out on that social time with your friends. I can get you back on that court. It's going to take you about 8 visits to get there. I know that because I've seen a lot of people like you. 8 visits is going to cost $1,200 in total. We can go from visit to visit, or you can pay up front. If you pay up front, you'll get a 10% discount. Those are your 2 options. This is the way that's going to get you back to that court and get you to achieve those goals that you want. If you agree with that and you're ready to make that change, why don't we go ahead and get you set up for the first appointment? So I basically told Bob exactly what I truly feel like he needs. And that's what we need to do more of as physical therapists, as occupational therapists, as healthcare professionals. Now that we are charging cash for our services, we've got to be willing to tell people exactly what they need. And don't be scared of the money, because the money is just money. You're not going to change that for a specific patient. You're not going to change that for anybody's situations. Money is just money. You've got to be able to tell them exactly what they need. And something that I see way too often with PTs is that we basically tell them what we think they want to hear, because they've maybe told us a story about their finances, or they've told us that finances are tight, or they told us this story, and then in turn, that patient is basically selling you as to maybe why they can't afford your service, when all you need to do is hold your ground and tell them from the bottom of your heart what they truly need. That's all you got to do to sell somebody. When I truly know that I can help somebody, I tell them that now, and I do not hold back. I don't hold back for a second. I tell them, look, this is the best thing for you. I know I can help you. I know I can get you there. Let's do this thing. And that change in my confidence over the last 3 years has helped it to become literally, I know when I walk into a patient that's a good fit for my practice, that I can sell them on that plan of care. I know I can do that because I know that ultimately all I'm doing is truly telling them from the bottom of my heart, truthfully, what they need. I'm not telling them any bullshit. I'm not telling them anything. I'm not trying to sell them on anything. I'm not trying to persuade them to do something that they shouldn't do. I'm trying to persuade them to do the right thing for their health. That's what I'm trying to do. And so when I think about it in that way, I'm not trying to like be a slimy salesman and squeeze them into anything. I'm just trying to simply lead them in the right direction and make the right decision. That's what I'm trying to do. And so if you can get to that point and confidently tell someone what they truly need to do, you are going to sell a lot more people on your cash plans of care, on your cash visits. Does that make sense for everybody? Give me a yes or no in the comment section. So I've got some questions right here, but before I answer those questions, I want to recap real quick. This is super simple. So number one, you're going to acknowledge them, and you're going to encourage questions. Number two, tell a story that's applicable to their situation, so they can feel like you're well equipped to fix this. And then number three, help them to see the reality of their situation. Don't be afraid to help them to see things differently. Number four, confidently tell them what they need and how you can help and how you're going to be able to deliver that to them. Confidently tell them what they need. Guys, if you get anything from this live stream, the 9 of you watching, and for those of you that watch the replay, if you get anything from this live stream, I want you to understand that if you can confidently tell people what you're able to deliver to them and what you're able to do for them and what they need, if you can confidently tell them what they need, you will learn to be a better salesman and a better salesperson. You will become a better salesperson if you can just start learning to tell people exactly what they need and not holding back, not worrying about price, not worrying about any of those extraneous factors, because guess what? You don't control their bank account. You have nothing to do with their finances. You're just a service that can take them. You're a vehicle to take them where they need to go, and your vehicle comes at a cost. That's all it is. All right, let's answer some questions. Russell, what about asking them what will it cost them if they don't get the treatment they need? Reframe it in that way. That's, again, that goes down to number 3, Russell. Help them to see the reality of the situation. So how much time are we wasting by not doing this right now? How much money is it going to cost you in the long term by not doing this right now? That's a way of reframing and helping them to see the true reality of the situation. So Russell, that's amazing. That's great. It's a great question to ask people. What is this going to cost? I mean, specifically, even more than money, Russell, what is this going to cost your patient in time if they don't do this? If they don't go forward with this plan of care, how much time is going to continue to be wasted of you not doing the things that you want to be doing in your life? Time's our most precious commodity in our lives. What's going to be lost if you don't do this thing right now? So great question, Russell. Really good question. And Katie, what's your average plan of care length? And so actually, so I'm in Texas now. For those of you that don't know, I sold my practice in Denver, my practice Freedom Physical Therapy, which was a concierge practice. I sold that practice, and now I'm back here back in Texas where family is, and we have a new home here. And I actually looked into this, Katie. and I wanted to see what the average plan of care was and how many patients I had seen over that course of time in Colorado. And the number's escaping me for some reason right now, but I think over the course of those 3 years, 98% of the revenue was made up by 48 patients. 98% of the revenue made up by Freedom Physical Therapy was made up by 48 patients. 48 patients. And so the average plan of care for a patient, really, I can't even give you a good answer for that, because the average patient, I think, saw us in our practice for at least a year. We did that because I was attracting the right type of clientele that I wanted to see. I was attracting the type of clientele that I know I could afford the service. And then number 3, I was attracting the clientele that I know could afford the service and the right type of clients, but then I was also selling them on that plan of care and helping them to see how, look, this is a long-term thing. This is fitness. This isn't just physical therapy. This is getting you out of pain. Yes, that's traditional physical therapy, but then we need to strengthen you, and we need to get you to a point to where you are strong, and that's what's going to help you to prevent that injury from coming back. Guys, we are very, very conceited as physical therapists if we think we can see somebody for 10 visits and they're never going to have that problem ever again. So the way to truly, truly get somebody back to not having that problem again is to start blending physical therapy and fitness. And so there's some things out there that say, oh, we shouldn't hold on to our patients for too long, and we shouldn't do that. And honestly, guys, I feel like that has been born out of the insurance models, because everything is going more towards this blend of rehab. Physical therapy, strength and conditioning, personal training, everything is becoming more of a blend, and for good reason, because that's what patients need to truly get better. And so once I was able to figure out that revelation, I was like, okay, I've got to see them longer, not just for the sake of seeing them and not just for the sake of getting paid, but because I want to see a patient through their plan of care and through to their ultimate goal. If they want to get back to, I use this example a lot, but if they want to get back to skiing on the slopes, I wanted to be able to get them there. And the only way that I could do that was to get them out of pain. And then next step is to take them through my 3 phases of my practice. And so the last phase is strength. The last phase was full on strengthening. And I tell patients that when you get to this phase, I'm going to make you sweat. We're going to come in the door. This is going to be a personal training session. That's really what it's going to be. And that's where I ultimately wanted to get to with patients. And so the long answer to your question, Katie, was probably the average patient that we saw was seeing us for over the course of a year. And whether that was transitioning them to a once a month plan, something like that, especially if maybe that was all they could afford. But it was basically, helping them to achieve those long-term goals they actually wanted to achieve. So I hope that answers your question, Katie. But Lisa, what kinds of things did you offer during your table setups to sell your plan of care? That's a good question, Belisa. So yeah, I used to do a lot of table setups at 5Ks, 10Ks, runs, workshops, CrossFit gyms, whatever it was. Especially before I became clear on who my avatar and my niche was, I was always doing it to different areas because I kind of didn't have too much direction. And so once I became clear on that, my table setups, the only thing that I would really offer was basically, sometimes I would offer things to get people's information, but that never, in most cases, never really seemed to pan out too much. The main thing that I wanted to do, Belisa, was I would set myself a goal to have true conversations with an X amount of people for every single event that I did. And so I would push myself out of my comfort zone and say, okay, I want to reach that goal of at least having 20 conversations with people in this one event. And so that required me getting my butt out of that booth and going to talk to people. Going out there and finding people and talking to people and saying, hey, what's up? Hey, I'm a PT and my booth's over there. I just wanted to come talk to you and say what's up. This is what I do. Are you dealing with anything, or have you dealt with anything in the past? Like any injuries that have held you back from running? No? Awesome. Cool. Hey, here's my card. If anything ever pops up, come over. You can come over to the tent. I'll be here all day. Or, give me a call, and I'd love to chat with you if anything ever comes up. Or you may even get into those conversations and they do have something going on. Or you're walking around and you see somebody in a boot, or you see somebody limping, or you see somebody you talk to somebody that's dealing with something. My biggest thing was not actually offering something. It was simply just setting a goal for myself of having a certain amount of conversations. And that was the best way that I knew I was going to be able to capitalize on those events. Because guys, I want you to understand something. No sale has ever been made in the history of human beings. No sale has ever been made without having a conversation. I want you to write that down and remember that. No sale has ever been made. No sale has ever been made without having a conversation first. A conversation leads to a sale. So, Belisa, I hope that's an answer to your question. Does anybody else have any other questions? While you guys are typing those questions, let me give a quick recap of what I talked about tonight. When we're trying to sell a patient on a plan of care or on a cash service of any kind, go through these 4 things and you'll be able to do it more frequently and more effectively. Number 1, acknowledge them. Acknowledge the person in front of you, answer their questions, acknowledge them. Even if they tell you it's too expensive, acknowledge them and say, I get it. It is expensive, but here's why. I'm gonna give you my one-on-one full me. You're gonna get just me. I've started my own practice because I wanted more one-on-one time with my patients. I wanted quality one-on-one time with my patients. And I've seen because of that, I can give better results. I've seen because that I charge the prices that I charge, there's better results and there's better compliance. And then also, I'll just be honest with you. This model works better for me in becoming the best physical therapist that I can be and effectively giving my services to people. And it's a better business model for my family and I. I literally tell those 3 reasons to patients. And so acknowledge them, number 1. Number 2, tell a story. If you have stories about previous success stories, tell them about previous patients and those great stories that you've helped people with. Number 3, help them to see the reality of the situation. If they think it's too expensive, reframe how they're looking at things. Let them know that this is possibly the best investment they can make is in their health because you only get one body. Number 4, confidently tell them what they truly need. If you feel like they need to see you for the next 2 months, then tell them that. Who cares about the price? Confidently tell them truthfully what that patient needs to get better. Okay? No sale has ever been made without having a conversation first. Thank you, Belisa. Thank you for writing that down. But those 4 steps will lead you to becoming a better salesperson. Get out there, everybody. Do the reps. Get the patients in front of you and practice doing this, and you will become better at sales. I'm going to do more No BS Wednesdays in the future over sales because obviously this is more than just No BS Wednesday. There's a lot to talk about in regards to sales, and I want to help you all with that. But this has been another week of No BS Wednesday. Thank you guys so much for coming on. Thank you, Belisa, for recapping. For all of you that are watching on replay, give me a hashtag replay. But you guys are awesome. I love you guys. Thank you for coming on every single week. I love doing this. I love teaching on this topic. I love continuing to help all of you to grow your practices. Reach out to me personally if you have any questions, and let's continue to push in the right direction. Every single one of you, keep pushing into the unknown. You guys are awesome. Have a great night. See ya. As long as I can quit this thing. Like I said, the internet's a little bit bad. So, and